Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. Going out with Talon, and Talon's pretty rich. I don't know if you know or not, but this is his $400,000 Storyteller Hilt. He's actually, in all seriousness, he's borrowing this vehicle. He works with Storyteller. He's got the Storyteller van. So they gave him this for a loaner just to kind of try out for a bit. And I wanted him to pull it up next to the LLOD bus. So there's a little bit of a size difference. So this is, if you're not up to speed, I bought this 2011 F550 kind of party bus passenger van thing for 15 grand. And I'm gonna build it into, it's not gonna be anywhere near as nice as this, but kind of like this. Big wheels, big tires, lifted, capable. So just to see kind of the size difference here, this is, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet longer in the back here. The front's lined up. The wheelbase is actually pretty much the same. Maybe an actually identical wheelbase here. So we have the front ends lined up. So you can kind of tell that's the size difference. This is a crew cab or whatever they're called in the Rams. Not the mega cab, but like the 4-door full-size one. This is literally a bus. So there's just one. But anyway, on the other side, it's just the single door, which if you saw the video, I was actually looking for non-4 doors because I'm gonna build seating into the living space. So what that equates to is this living space kind of starts here, you know, roughly here. So interior wise, even though this is about 3 feet longer, this starts about 3 feet this way. So probably the box length is pretty similar, and this will be, I think 7 or 8 inches taller. It's 10 feet right now. Talon says this is 12 feet. So
between 12 and 12.7.
It's got stuff on top, vents, rack, everything. This has nothing on top right now, so it's 10 feet. So I'll probably gain another foot with wheels, tires, rack, so it'll be 11 feet and some change. So this will be a little bit smaller than this. The Hilt is, I don't know, more people are familiar with an earth roamer, obviously. So this is very similar in size and dimensions to the earth roamer. Anyway, it was here in the driveway. Talon's borrowing it, so I figured I'd start this Weekenderlander off with that. The bus is actually gutted. I pretty much gutted most of it, and I am gonna take the Jayco. I don't know, this may be the last trip. Well, it's not for sale yet. I'm gonna be selling this, so I haven't listed it yet. So depending on when I list it, again, I've mentioned if you're interested in this van, let me know. I will be selling it at some point, but this, I don't know, maybe I'll take it on another trip or two, but I wanted to get it out, have some fun in it, so I'll be taking that out. All right, before we go, figured we'll pull the Sprinter out. This is a Sprinter 144. It's a Jayco Terrain 4x4. Looks to be, I don't know, 1.5 feet, 2 feet shorter in height. And then we pulled them pretty level. Quite a bit smaller still than this. Obviously wheelbase quite a bit shorter, tires quite a bit smaller, and probably 1.5 to 2 feet narrower. So there you go. Just a quick comparison before we head out. This angle, it looks tiny, but some of that is the lens distortion. You're a pilot. You can fly. It's some beautiful country out here. There's a fire that wiped everything out. All right, so we've made it to a spot. It's kind of a beautiful open spot. It's super windy out. I don't know if you can tell. Windy enough to even kind of, it's like shaking the van right now. So these are miserable conditions for anyone in any rooftop tent or ground tent or anything, but a lot more bearable. Actually, you hardly notice it inside of one of these kind of vehicles. So it's kind of why I brought the van. I knew it was going to be windy, and plus I knew Talon and I actually were going to be filming a podcast. So I just pulled up to where my door lines up to his door so we could get easy kind of in and out from one vehicle to the other. So what we're doing tonight, in addition to just camping and having fun and hanging out, is actually Talon and I are going to be filming our first podcast, which, oh, I got 5G here. So I just posted on Instagram a collab post with Talon, kind of like, what do you want to hear us talk about? So we'll kind of look through those comments and see what you guys want to see or hear. And largely it'll just be kind of a, hey, this is our first podcast and talking about whatever. I think some future episodes will be topical. We'll kind of go through different things. We'll have guests on and all that kind of stuff. So tonight we're just hanging out. We're going to dedicate an hour or two to just kind of figuring out this podcast thing, seeing how we want to record it and video it. We will probably put it online. This video will probably go up before the podcast though, but I may come back and like put it in a pinned comment at the top or in the video description below what's going on. But I'm just going to get set up here. I love camping in the van. It's so nice where you get to just be out in the middle of nowhere, but you kind of have the comforts of home, especially when it's freezing cold out. Well, it's not that cold outside, but with the wind, freezing cold outside. Get my bed set up. And it's set up. All right, so here we are in the Overland, Storyteller Overland Hilt. Or is this a G, what is it? GX, it says GXV?
Yeah.
Global X
Yeah,
Hilt?
so they bought Global Expedition vehicles and it's the GXV Hilt now.
Oh, so it's not, this is not a Storyteller Overland Hilt. Kind of?
It's a Storyteller Overland GXV Hilt.
Okay,
So
it's a long name.
Yeah.
It's a long name. Master bed up here, all kinds of skylights, vents, nice little bathroom in here. They say don't use a toilet, but I'm about to bomb this thing. Nah, just kidding. Little shower setup, little sink, little nooks, crannies, nice display.
Full-size trash can.
Big old trash, nice countertop, little like blood drip lines. Probably not really for blood, I guess. Crazy door. Dual burner induction. Little U dinettes. I'm honestly not a huge fan of the U-shaped dinettes. Like, I feel like you get a few people in there and all your legs are up on top of each other. You just gotta get cozy. But it does make for a good podcasting studio, and that converts into a massive bed as well. Man, that's a big sink.
It's a pretty big sink. Wish it was a little deeper, but you have more storage here with the drawers.
Big sink, storage, got big old fridge and freezer, and convection microwave up there.
Closet,
A
adjustable
little
shelves.
wardrobe, hanging closet. I like the matte black.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks really nice. This thing is really nice. It's pretty quiet too. I think probably because that's the front. The wind's coming from that direction. It was hitting the back of the van, so it's just like hitting the loudest part where I sleep. So I might eventually turn around. But anyway, we are getting podcast set up. At this point, we don't even know what we're going to call the podcast. We don't know what we're going to talk about. We don't know who's going to edit this. We don't know anything. So we're going to figure that out tonight. I'll let you know later what we decide. And floor lighting underneath. It does show. The problem with the floor lighting is it shows all the crumbs.
Yeah.
All the little crumbs and the dust when you actually look down under there. But it does look cool, especially down back in that little dinette area. Pretty sick. Anyway, we're going to get this podcast thing set up. All right, it's like a hurricane outside. I just went across the vast landscape 3 feet to my van to get some supplies. We just finished up Talon's podcast. So Talon has a podcast called Dropping Knowledge. We just filmed the first episode in a year.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but hopefully we'll do more, and we're going to do more of our own.
Yeah, so Talon's kicking up, he's spinning back up his own podcast. I think he doesn't have faith that I'll stick through and actually do this podcast thing, our collaborative podcast. So we did that podcast. You can check that out. Dropping Knowledge, right?
Dropping Knowledge podcast.
Type that in and you'll find it on whatever platform. We're going to get a quick meal in for some energy for the next podcast marathon. So we're doing easy. I brought a kettle that I keep in the van and some peak, chicken coconut curry, and
beef stroganoff.
The classic beef strog. So replenish ourselves a little bit. We've been playing kind of with this new vehicle. If you're interested in it, Talon's gonna make a video that's all kind of about it. But it's got a little more room, a little better. This is like a very good podcasting area.
Pretty nice.
So this is the podcasting studio. When I build the bus, now I'm gonna have to incorporate a good podcast setup layout for that. So we've been brainstorming some podcast names, ideas, what we're gonna talk about, and we're getting it narrowed down. We're getting it close. So I think by the end of this video, we'll probably have a name. And I'll be able to leave you with that. Okay, we're gonna make some food.
A few moments later.
All right, that is a wrap. Promised you. Well, I didn't promise you. I said we'd probably have a podcast name by the end of the video.
We got it.
Over-delivering here. We were talking on the Dropping Knowledge podcast about our podcast, like what the names would be, and I don't know. We both didn't want to do something like too cheesy. We talked about this in the podcast. You should listen to it. But, like Escape into the Mountains podcast, something like that. Even though it would kind of fit because we're probably going to do a lot of these podcasts out in the mountains. But then we were on some tangent on the podcast, and I was like, we do a lot of tangents. And Talon was like, how about offshoots? It's kind of like tangents, kind of like trail, off-roading. Offshoots is the name of the podcast. Offshoots Pod on Instagram. Offshoots Podcast everywhere else probably. I'll link that stuff in the left corner and down below if we have it. I'm going to upload this video actually really quick because I don't have a video for the week. So I'll probably edit this and upload it same day. Offshoot Pod will be live maybe in a week or so. Talon provided a lot of the other stuff and is going to do RSS feed and stuff. So my job is to edit it. So depending on how much I edit it, we have this setup. Like it's a pretty, like the podcast setup's pretty good. The audio is going to be really nice. But our video cameras, like we have nice, expensive cameras, but they're DSLRs that only shoot for 30 minutes at a time. And the podcast was probably like 2 hours. So we basically had to keep cutting. So we need, Talon has this way to record it onto an external screen and all this stuff. It's not janky, but it's a lot to set up. Like, it's nice, but it's a lot to set up. And I don't have that, so mine was 30. Anyway, all that to say, I think we're gonna get cameras. Like, yeah, different like a little camcorders or something that can just record for 2 hours, and that'll make the editing a lot easier. Because editing this one's gonna suck. But anyway, update. Offshoots Pod. So we just filmed, well, we filmed one podcast for Talon, Dropping Knowledge. The first Offshoots Pod. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. So hopefully we make that thing a thing. Oh man, I'm on manual exposure, I forgot, and it's too bright, so we're real bright. I usually do, for those nerds out there, auto ISO because it's easy. Moving some files around. It's actually getting to be almost bedtime. Still a hurricane outside. Still insane.
So like, windy.
I went outside to pee and almost blew away. So, yeah, just wrapping things up here. Dinner was great. And hangs were great. And hopefully we wake up in the morning after a restful night of sleep and can hang out a bit. But I think that's it for night.
Offshoot podcast coming soon.
Like in a week, probably. All right. Well, appreciate your support. And it's not the end of the video, so I'll just sign off for the night and catch you in the morning. Good night. Good morning. That was a nice little sleep. It's nice and toasty in here. Talon is filming. Here, let's watch. So he's out there doing his little video of the Hilt. And so inside I usually have the duffel, you know, kind of laid out, camera gear, just whatever. Both of these seats flip around if I need them to. There can be a little table right here, but when I'm solo, I just kind of sprawl out all over the place here. This is my homemade trail mix. Pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds and dried blueberries and goji berry and mixed nuts. And in the back, I just opened that so you could actually see back here. Show you kind of what's going on. You know, just the bed. I usually keep my carry piece there and a water bottle. And in the back I have this is like the fancy, the nicest blanket you can buy, basically, the aeronaut quilt. So that's usually all I have here, which is kind of overkill considering I have a diesel heater in the van. And this is another cheaper blanket that I actually use just like these clothes pins to hook up sometimes. You don't need this. I actually have these other window coverings behind that I'll show you. So I have these back here from Van Essential. So those really block out the light pretty good, but you can still see some metal exposed and whatnot. So this quiets it down, you know, just a tiny bit, and then it also adds a little extra insulation. So sometimes I'll throw that up just because it takes only a second with the clothespins. But this is it's a little down quilt from Get Out Gear. It's a little smaller, more like a throw size, but this one's pretty nice too. So it's an extra blanket that I just keep on the bed at all times. And that's the setup. You can leave most of your bedding, pillows and whatnot on there and then raise the bed up. It's kind of nice because they sell these things now, but before they were available I just made my own little bench back here with a cushion and a little air fry microwave. These shelves just stay put, so you can kind of keep some stuff there while you move your bed up and down. And then you just have this area to hang out, and I actually mount a projector if I want to here and shoot it right into that blank opening, so you kind of have a little like living room, movie theater back here which is pretty nice. And yeah, that's kind of the setup. Not going to be using much of it, obviously, since we went easy on the food. And then this kind of rattles. I don't know if they've updated it since now. I've always meant to kind of put like a latch here, because if you're on really rough roads, this drawer will kind of vibrate open. But this is basically a pull-out shelf. That's where I'll put the induction cooktop most of the time. And yeah, honestly, a really nice setup. All right, well, that was a lot of fun. Talon is gonna hang out for a bit and film his video on the Hilt. So if you have any questions about that vehicle, check out Talon's channel. And yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. The wind didn't really die down until, I don't know, sometime this morning, I think, but it's not too bad out here right now. So I will leave in the video description and the comments down below information on like the podcast and stuff when they become available. All right, goodbye.
Go edit the podcast.
I gotta go edit this podcast and figure out how to do that now. Great fun. All right, so back home now in the old barn. Sorry, I got weird like window lights here and there, but it's when the weather is like, I talked about it in the video, I think a little bit, but when it was so windy, rooftop tents are just no fun, and ground tents are no fun either. So definitely in inclement weather, like there's a huge advantage to kind of being in an enclosed thing. I usually don't take the van out by myself. That's more of kind of the family vehicle, but when you're by yourself, it's an amazing vehicle as well. So I know a lot of you guys don't watch every video I put out, obviously. So if you may have missed it, you may be wondering in this video why I'm getting rid of the Jayco Terrain. It's simply just because we kind of outgrew it. When I got this, we actually just didn't even have Cooper yet. So it was just Ashley and I would use it a lot. And then we would bring the dogs, and it's perfect for that. 2 people, perfect. 2 people and dogs, perfect. And then occasionally we would take out Isabella, who's, you know, just about full size. So it's really set up to sleep, you know, 2 and a little kid in the bed probably. So we kind of made this extra bed that's kind of temporarily set up for Isabella. But now with Cooper, it's just, there's no, it's so tight in there with 4 people and 2 dogs. So that is the reason, I explained that before, but that's the reason this is gonna go. So probably get it ready for sale here relatively soon. So yeah, that's why I mentioned if you're in the market, let me know. It's not quite, I mean, I would sell it for, you know, if someone was really interested right now, but I don't have a listing up for it or anything like that. So yeah, usually it is truck. I do kind of want to take out the Tundra a little more, throw a tent on the back of it and take that out for fun, even though the Tacoma is super dialed. And then the LX also, but the LX probably I still got to put a rack on it. I'm kind of deciding what rack I want to put on there, honestly. There's a few that I'm thinking about, but anyway, I don't think usually that's going to have a rooftop tent on it. It may have a tent on it every once in a while, but for the most part, I think this is going to be like the big ground tent. I'm going to get one of the big Free Spirit hub tents from Free Spirit, and then maybe they have like a back of the SUV kind of extension, and then also like the 270 awning. So I think I'm going to try and configure this rig as a more ground tent kind of camping family vehicle, whereas the Tacoma is going to be kind of the go fast, still quick setup, quick tear down, full build. So if you're wondering, those are kind of the plans. And then you saw it earlier in the video. I'll actually probably just do a full video update on the old bus. But I got it mostly gutted in here now. So this is, I'm basically figuring out layouts, kind of figuring out where I want to put batteries and water and sinks and everything. So this project is kind of underway, and I'm ordering kind of some fabric samples and this and that just to kind of get, I don't know, get a better idea of exactly what I want to do here. And then we'll hopefully start also building out the interior of the big black barn as well. And then this summer I'll be knocking out a handful of more homesteading projects, actually putting in an order for some more chickens. We may try to get into goats this year. I want to build a greenhouse as well. So I got to basically build a big run and coop, maybe a greenhouse, do a lot of fencing. And then still got some projects inside the house to knock out. So 2024 is still unfortunately going to be a busier year for me with just kind of homestead projects than I was anticipating, in addition to building the bus. But I'm going to try and get the bus done before summer, honestly, so we can start kind of adventuring in that thing before summer, and then maybe 2024 Tacoma. Anyway, yeah, earlier in the video I said OFFSHOOTS podcast. It's just offshoot. We debated about it for a while, offshoots versus offshoot, and I think offshoot is better. So offshoot podcast, I haven't edited that. I will probably in the next week. So, you know, I'll post on Instagram and whatnot when that's live, but excited to do that. We've been talking about doing a podcast forever. So stoked we finally at least filmed the first episode. Sweet. All right, guys. Well, I always appreciate you guys watching the videos. I love hearing from you in the comments down below. Good, bad, hello, how's it going, whatever it is. Appreciate you sharing videos or my channel with your friends if you think they'd be into it as well. I'm going to be doing some preparedness videos soon. I think I'm going to flesh out that series a little bit that I was kind of talking about, where I do kind of a deeper dive into long-term food storage, or a deeper dive into water, a deeper dive into power, things like that. So look forward to that on the channel soon. All right, well, until next time, guys, take care.